Галимжанова Гульнара, a teacher of English language, Nazarbayev Intellectual School, Kokshetau. This lesson will be conducted for the students from grade 12, level upper intermediate. The aims of this lesson are: educational aim is to enlarge students' vocabulary that goes beyond high-frequency lexemes. Development aim is to develop students' critical thinking skills. Upbringing aim is to develop intercultural awareness through reading and discussion. The type of the lesson is an introduction to a new unit. Okay, let's start. Good afternoon, dear students. I'm really happy to see you. And I have one question. Is it important to know what is happening in the news? And if it is important, can you explain why it is important? You have 7 seconds to think about it, and then we will discuss these questions. Okay, thank you. Can you give me your answers? Yes, it's great. Here, students, I can agree with you totally. If we know what is going on, what is happening in the news, it can help us to broaden our minds, and it can help us to enlarge our knowledge about the world. It also can help us to appreciate what we have. That's why it is really very important to know what is going in the world, what is going in the world which is around us. So maybe you have guessed already what topic we will have today. Yes, you are absolutely right, news. And the lesson objectives for today are: we will discuss the news, main purposes of broadcasting, TV viewing in the future. We will recognize classmates' preferences, which will be really very interesting, I guess. We will listen for gist and make notes. We will listen for detailed information and complete the table. And we will read a very interesting text and fill in the gaps. So students, on the board you see 2 posters with word verbs. Each word verb has 3 categories: people, presentation, and places. And the topics of these word verbs are television, newspapers, and magazines. So in every verb you will see a word which is done for you already in each category. Your task now is to add more words which can be used in this topic: television and newspapers. So you are welcome to the board and add more words. You have 3 minutes. Okay, students, I see you have added more words, and let's read them aloud. So, the topic is television. People: newsreader, journalist, reporter, cameraman, director, camera crew. Very interesting words. Then, presentation: soundbite, news story, headlines, transmission. Really very useful words which we can use today at the lesson. Places: studio, on location, newsroom, and outside broadcast. Okay, let's move to another word verb. Newspapers and magazine: editor, reporter, journalist, paparazzi, photographer. Headlines: article, column, front page story, byline, photo. Printers: news office, printing press. So students, I won't take those posters from the board, and you will be able to look at these posters and to use these words during our lesson. And now I would like you, in pairs as you sit, to discuss the following questions. How do you usually find about the news? What are the main purposes of broadcasting? What do you think TV viewing will be like in the future? So you have 2 minutes to discuss in pairs those questions, and then you will share your ideas with the whole class. 2 minutes, students. Okay, I would like to listen to the ideas. So, how do you usually find about the news? Yes, you are absolutely right. Usually we find about the news from TV news programs, from the internet, reading newspapers. Sometimes our friends and parents uh, tell us about the latest news. What are the main purposes of broadcasting? So, your ideas, students? Yes, you are absolutely correct. It's great. The main purpose of broadcasting is to inform people about different events, to attract attention, and to explain different points of view. And the last question, what do you think TV viewing will be like in the future? Your ideas? Very interesting ideas. Everyone will be able to watch their favorite shows anytime they want. Special gadgets and TV tables. Okay, thank you. And now it is really very interesting to find out what you like to watch on Saturday TV, on Saturday evenings. So, how can we find this out? The preferences of your classmates. Yes, you are absolutely right. We will conduct a questionnaire. So you need to ask only one question. What sort of program do you think make ideal Saturday TV viewing? You can use those handouts, and your task now is to complete this table. So for this activity, you need to stand up and ask your classmates the only question: what sort of program do you think make ideal Saturday TV viewing? So for this activity you have 7 minutes. You are welcome, students. There are different types of programs: sport, chat show, children's TV, chat music show, learning zone, hospital drama, news and weather, documentary, lottery, quiz show, film, wildlife program, and comedy show. So it is very important that you should question every classmate. Okay, students, I see that you have completed your questionnaires, and now you have 2 minutes to analyze what you have found out. Just go back to your places and analyze the data you have got. Let's listen to the most interesting findings. So you're welcome. Most of my classmates prefer to watch comedies on Saturday evening. Yes, I prefer to watch comedies on Saturday evening as well. No one from my classmates watch children's TV on Saturday evening. I see, okay. 4 students out of 10 prefer to watch news on Saturday evening. Okay, students, thank you. It was really very interesting. Let's pass to the next activity. Now you should able in the groups to create TV schedule for Saturday. You will use TV programs which we used already in the previous activity. And the task will be to match and to find out when and what to watch on Saturday. So maybe the students we need to form new groups for this activity. Maybe students from their first row, you can move your chairs to the tables or the second row, and we will have 3 groups of 4 students. So you have A3 posters and A3 paper and markers, and your task now is to meet the best time to the TV programs. You have 7 minutes. Just make sure that you speak English while persuading your classmates that, for example, 12:10 p.m. is the best time for quiz show. You have 7 minutes. it's very important to explain why you think that this program is appropriate for this time. Okay, students, thank you. Now I see that you have completed your TV schedules, supposed TV schedules, and now you are welcome to the board and place your schedules on the board. Let's see what you have got. We see that we have 3 different TV schedules for Saturday. Maybe we can compare. You have 3 minutes to compare and to discuss your TV schedules. Okay, students, it was really very interesting to listen to your ideas. So what we will do next, we will listen to the introduction to the different news.
Unit 24, Listening, Exercise 1. The news today, news 24 hours a day. It's 15 hours GMT. You're listening to the news today. Hello and welcome. Next, a bulletin of world news, followed in 5 minutes by news from around the world. This week, Richard James provides a glimpse of life in North Korea, Mark Holder reviews an album of South American love songs, Michael Martin visits Western Nepal, John Duncan meets the Chileans who live under the ozone hole in South America, and Marion Southgate brings us a story of mermaids and diamonds from Angola. That's all in our edition of News from Around the World in about 5 minutes. Later it'll be politics from Westminster here in London, an analysis of current events in British government. That's all to come in the next hour, but first, here's a bulletin of the latest world news.
Students, you will listen to this audio once again, and the task will be to note down stories you are particularly interested in.
Unit 24, Listening, Exercise 1. The news today, news 24 hours a day. It's 15 hours GMT. You're listening to the news today. Hello and welcome. Next, a bulletin of world news, followed in 5 minutes by news from around the world. This week, Richard James provides a glimpse of life in North Korea, Mark Holder reviews an album of South American love songs, Michael Martin visits Western Nepal, John Duncan meets the Chileans who live under the ozone hole in South America, and Marion Southgate brings us a story of mermaids and diamonds from Angola. That's all in our edition of News from Around the World in about 5 minutes. Later it'll be politics from Westminster here in London, an analysis of current events in British government. That's all to come in the next hour, but first, here's a bulletin of the latest world news.
Okay, students, you have 2 minutes to discuss your preferences. Can you share why you have decided to choose this or that program? Yes, I would like to listen to the program News Around the World because I want to know more about the life in North Korea. Yes, I absolutely agree with you. You are interested in climate change. That is why you want to listen to the program about ozone holes. It's really very interesting, and we will pass to the next activity. The next activity is listening part 2. Here, your task is to complete the table, and you will listen to the audio twice. For the first time, you will listen, and for the second time, you will listen and complete the table.
Unit 24, Listening, Exercise 2.
A report by the international aid group Oxfam is investigating Australia's role in protecting the basic rights of its native people, the Aborigines. The report identifies what it calls alarming gaps between the rights and access to services of Indigenous people and those available to other Australians. It says there could also be cases of structural discrimination in the country's laws and regulations, and calls for an investigation into constitutional change. The 11th Paralympic Games in Sydney, Australia, have ended with a spectacular carnival show and party. A lone athlete made his way to the centre of the arena. His arrival was the cue for a massive pyrotechnic display that raced around the stadium. Then followed displays from circus performers and dancers, huge inflatable animals. The president declared the Games the best ever.
Okay, students, you have one more opportunity to listen to this audio and to complete the items.
Unit 24. Listening. Exercise 2.
A report by the international aid group Oxfam is investigating Australia's role in protecting the basic rights of its native people, the Aborigines. The report identifies what it calls alarming gaps between the rights and access to services of Indigenous people and those available to other Australians. It says there could also be cases of structural discrimination in the country's laws and regulations, and calls for an investigation into constitutional change. The 11th Paralympic Games in Sydney, Australia, have ended with a spectacular carnival show and party. A lone athlete made his way to the centre of the arena. His arrival was the cue for a massive pyrotechnic display that raced around the stadium. Then followed displays from circus performers and dancers, huge inflatable animals. The president declared the Games the best ever.
Okay, students, let's see the answers. So, the first item, where? Australia. Who? International Aid Group Oxfam, the Aborigines. The rights of Aborigines. Item 2, where? Sydney, Australia. Who? A lone athlete, the president. Topic, the end of Paralympics. Okay, thank you, students. It was really very great. Let's pass to the next activity. So now you will read the article and complete it by writing the missing words in the correct gaps. Use only one word for each gap. The exercise begins with an example. The article is here. Visual attractiveness. It is connected with news values and news production. It is an individual work. You have 5 minutes to complete this task. Once again, I repeat, it is an individual work. Okay, thank you, students. I see that you have completed the text, and now your task is to compare your answers with your classmate. Just you have 2 minutes to discuss the answers. Let's see the answers all together. Visual attractiveness. Television is a visual medium, and the special power of television news is its ability to exploit the advantage. Television journalists are not obsessed by notions of good television or good film. They can be given the limited number of stories for which film is available. But the temptation to screen visually arresting material and to reject stories unadorned by good film is ever present and sometimes irresistible. Okay, students, do you remember? Thank you. These are the answers. You can check yourself once again. Do you remember the word verbs which we worked with at the beginning of the lesson. So now you can add some more words which you have learned during these lessons, or maybe you didn't remember about them and you met them during the lesson, and now you can use them as well. You can add those words to these verbs. You have 2 minutes. I see, students, you have chosen really very good words: editor-in-chief, global surveillance, electronic journalism, event, newsman, screen, and audience. Thank you. Don't forget about those words and use them. And so this is the end of our lesson. Let's see what we have done today. We have discussed the news, main purposes of broadcasting, TV viewing in the future. We recognized classmates' preferences. We conducted the questionnaires and analyzed the data. We listened for gist and make notes. We listened for detailed information and completed a table. We read a text and fill in the gaps. Now just please, can you answer the question? What do you think we will find out about the next part of this topic? Write just 2 or 3 sentences and put the stickers on the board. And next lesson we will see if you have guessed or not. You have 1 minute. These are the references which you can use. Okay, thank you. Goodbye.